Touchdown!
After 17 weeks, it's finally over.
He's going to run for the end zone and get there.
The Jags may be getting by with Jonathan Quinn at quarterback, but is defense their real concern? Who ended the regular season number 1 on our power rankings? Which playoff teams aren't even in the top 10? And how about the playoffs' most underrated team? 5 franchises need a new head coach. Which one is already talking to George Seifert? All the news next on NFL Tonight. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first playoff edition of NFL Tonight. You are looking at 7 helmets of 7 teams who are currently looking for new head coaches. Mark Malone along with Sean Salisbury, and for a lot of teams, it's time for the postseason. For those teams, they need somebody to lead them to the postseason.
It seems like defensive coaches are out. The theme here is find me an offensive head coach. A lot of them going to be taken. Mark.
A lot of them are. Offense important, but for this team, defense is where they started first. The Carolina Panthers are wasting no time in their attempts to fill the vacancy left by head coach Dom Capers. Just one day after team owner Jerry Richardson fired Capers, he met with George Seifert, also a front-runner for the job openings in Baltimore and Seattle. Seifert spent 9 years as a defensive coordinator for San Francisco before taking over for the legendary Bill Walsh. During his 8 years as head coach for the 49ers, Seifert reached both 50 and 75 wins faster than anyone in history while winning 2 Super Bowls. We caught up with him at the airport following his interview with Richardson.
Well, I had a very nice visit with Mr. Richardson, and, it was exploratory. Both on his part and on my part. And I would say that you should all be proud of the fact that he's about as dedicated an owner as there is to wanting to win.
Meanwhile, the expansion Cleveland Browns hunt for a head coach focused on offense for a second straight day as Denver Broncos offensive coordinator Gary Kubiak met with team executives Tuesday. A former employee of President Carmen Policy while at San Francisco, Kubiak found a comfort level in Cleveland.
It's attractive to me because I know these guys, and I know their commitment to being the best in the business, or they wouldn't be in it. So I think that's that's how strong I feel toward this organization right now. I can't speak for anything else because I haven't talked to anybody else or been in that situation.
Since he's gone to Denver, I have to tell you, I do think that there's been a maturing process. There's been a growing process. I could tell just in talking to him, even casually, over the past 2 years, and calling to wish you luck, not tampering, calling to wish you luck. You could sense that there was a greater awareness and a greater confidence in his voice. And then after meeting with him today, I'm really impressed.
And the search continues. ESPN the Magazine's John Clayton joins us now. As teams and candidates jockey for position, how quickly can we expect to see some of these jobs filled?
I think maybe you might see something happen next week. Now, George Seifert obviously being the most aggressive. He was out in Carolina. I think they're setting up something for Baltimore, although George did fly back to San Francisco tonight. But they're already working on the Baltimore situation, and he'll interview with Seattle probably sometime next week. But I think he could be the first to go. And obviously, Carolina's going to look at Steve Spurrier. I don't know if anything will even materialize as far as an interview. But obviously, Carolina, the first team out of the blocks, they're moving quickly.
You mentioned Spurrier's name. Whose phone is ringing, and who can we expect to be in the news as a candidate on the head coaching tour over the next couple of days?
Well, first off, Jim Haslett has already received a phone call from Philadelphia. They're setting up an interview tomorrow. He'll receive a phone call tomorrow from Seattle. Also, Baltimore is expected to get something going there. So his name is going to be in the news tomorrow. Also, one news item in Pittsburgh, Ray Sherman, the offensive coordinator, escaped out of there with his job today. It still looks like there may be a change, a demotion, but it did not happen today in Pittsburgh.
Of course, we'll have a lot more on this and other news from John Clayton a little later in the show. We ask you on our ESPN.com poll question, however, if you were one of the NFL's GMs looking for a head coach, who would be your top choice? Brian Billick, Dom Capers, Gary Kubiak, Sherman Lewis, Ray Rhodes, George Seifert, or Dave Wanstead? Well, they did play football last Monday, and that would be last night. The season's finale featured a game that meant nothing to the postseason picture, but did lend some insight to Jacksonville and some apparent weaknesses they have on both sides of the ball, Sean, as they get ready to host the New England Patriots.
Yeah, we'll hit that defense. Offensively, all hinders on how healthy Mark Brunell is. But talking about Jonathan Quinn, didn't do a bad job last night. Let's check him out on our Monday Night Breakdown as we look at their offense here. First of all, what they did last night for him is they kept it very easy. And also, this guy's got a little bit of athleticism. Look what he does. Same thing Brunell does. Doesn't make the bad decision. Pulls the ball down, although he's not exactly as fast as Brunell. Found a way to get in the end zone. They limited his audibles last night. If, in fact, Quinn has to play in the playoff game or start, I would expect that they're going to have to limit their offense, and they're going to keep it simple for him and rely on the playmakers to make plays. As you saw last night, he got the ball around, short passes, making some plays to give himself a chance to be successful. Only 19 throws. They're going to have to throw more in this game. And here is Mark Brunell. If he's in, now this guy gives you the best chance to win. He's one of the ultimate weapons in the league. Can beat you with the deep pass, with the TD here to McCardell, and you're going to see another one. This is an extremely accurate quarterback. His timing might be off a bit. Whether he's 75% or 80%, has not practiced much. If, in fact, he does start, and I expect him to, he's going to need McCardell and Taylor and Smith to step up and make plays that maybe they wouldn't make. And the key to having Mark Brunell back is you get to expand your offense, Mark, and make plays where if Quinn's there, you got to limit it a little. You get to expand it, audibles. He can take you out of a bad play and get you to a big play and a home run. With him starting, I give them the advantage.
And I would agree with you that Mark Brunell might be a little shaky and a little rusty, but this is not a football team, especially with Ty Law, that you want to be inaccurate with your passes. On the other hand, Jacksonville's defense has some problems of its own. They gave up 139 yards to the bus. In fact, when you take a look at this defense, you know, from these numbers right here, it shows you that they rank below the rest of this year's playoff teams in many defensive categories. They have the worst overall and rush defense still remaining. As for pass defense, none of the survivors has fewer sacks or interceptions. Their first-round opponent, New England, have had success stopping the run and picking passes off, Sean.
Yeah, when you're 22nd against the run, it doesn't bode well for the playoffs because you know what they're going to do. They are going to come at you, and Jerome Bettis did it last night. And it wasn't like Jerome Bettis was fighting for extra yards. Those holes were big, and they were huge, and they got to be alert not to try and go get after the quarterback too quickly. They're going to play Robert Edwards, and the New England Patriots, of the Patriots, their running back, they do not have a lot of weapons on the outside because of injuries to wide receiver. Edwards and Ben Coates are the ones who are going to have to step up and make plays. I expect Coates to have a big game, but with Zolak in there, he's going to have to lean on Robert Edwards and Mark for New England to win if Brunell's healthy. I think that Edwards has got to have one of those days, rush the ball for over 100 yards and maybe catch 6 or 7 balls. But that's a weak defense. They're going to have to crowd the line of scrimmage and beg you to beat him outside.
Jacksonville's defense will face a Patriot wide receiver corps that's been depleted. How do they match up in this game?
Well, this is a very interesting. You got the 23rd pass defense in the league in Jacksonville against no Drew Bledsoe on offense, but you still got some players out there who can make a few plays. And I want you to watch here. You saw the spot shadow. You cannot give this much cushion if you're Jacksonville. Whether it's Sean Jefferson or Simmons on New England, their wideouts, they will make those plays. Here's another thing. You can't do this. You have got to get to the quarterback. Everybody says in pass defense, oh, the secondary can't make plays. If you're not putting pressure on the quarterback, I think last of all the playoff teams in sacks Jacksonville is, it's very easy. Average quarterbacks can make plays. They need to do a little more of this. Disguise coverage. Show press. Play off. Ball's underthrown here by Stewart. This football team, the matchup, Jacksonville secondary has got to come up with plays. But I would say that you're going to come up and make that doggone running game. They're not allowed that to beat you. That outside, that Simmons and Sean Jefferson are the ones who are going to have to make 2 or 3 chunk plays. I said it last night, 20 or more yards to give Zolak some help. No Bledsoe. Zolak's got to lean. Look for big coach to go big, though.
And rookie safety Donovan Darius figures in very big. He's been out hurt. If he can be back, that might be a nice little matchup they have with Ben Coates. We're going to have a lot more on this game throughout the week, including perspectives from Patriots linebacker Ted Johnson, who will join us here in the studio on Wednesday. Coming up next on NFL Tonight, the health of Deion Sanders. Can Dallas expect a miracle from football's prodigal one? We'll have an update on Primetime's podiatry problems and how he figures into the wild card picture. And speaking of Dallas, as assistants under Jimmy Johnson, Norv Turner and Dave Wanstead were considered the brightest. Now the shine is gone. What happened?